Hello YouTube, welcome to the first in the series of our shop build. And if you're new to YouTube, welcome. You're going to love it, man. Like, I would start off, just Google monkey riding a pig and then you'll go down a wormhole there. So enjoy YouTube in general. So yeah, what we decided to do, there's a bit of a backstory to why we're here, telling you about a mobile shop that we're going to build. So if you aren't familiar with Boyds or Boyds of Bedford, it is a clothing and lifestyle brand, and we did have a bricks and mortar shop that we opened last January, so January in 2020. But then in September, owing to the world of pain that 2020 was, we closed the doors of the bricks and mortar store permanently in September, owing to financial difficulties. But following kind of the kindness of our customers and friends, and at their suggestion, we launched a crowdfunder to raise enough money to relaunch the brand as an online business and to build a mobile shop that we could take out to car and bike shows and host our own meets and basically try and replicate what we had statically out on the road as well. And that's where we are today. So we raised £12,000, probably spent about £4,000 of that fulfilling all the rewards, because it was, you know, you bought t-shirts, etc. So getting all those, getting them posted out, and we posted them across the world, which was amazing. Managed to get them all done by the beginning of December. And then basically started looking for a vehicle that would be suitable. So we went around the houses. I started off, I was like, oh, let's get a T5, because I had a T5 that we had to sell to raise money. So I know those vehicles, but they're so expensive now. And ultimately we would then have had to take like a pop-up awning or something as well as that, and then that's another cost. So then I was like, okay, well, let's look at a crafter. Bigger vehicle, better value for money now, to be honest with you, because I think they're just not as popular. But then having looked at those, it was kind of like, okay, well, you've got a bigger vehicle, but it's still not big enough for us to do what we wanted to do with the shop. I then looked at trailers, actually bought a trailer, but the guy ended up being a flake, and I bought and paid for it, and then they just completely ghosted me. And funnily enough, the guy got in contact with me like a week ago saying, oh, and it was like 3 months after I bought it, saying like, oh yeah, no, it's ready now. Sorry, I didn't see your messages. And so I had to say no, sorry, I've got another solution. And then I went down a wormhole of horse boxes, and that wormhole started with the vehicle that we have now. So why a horse box? Head height, capacity, ability to carry weight, and cheapness, to be honest with you. So this one that we ended up with was the first one that I saw. It appealed to me for many reasons, which you'll see a little bit later. But I got into contact with the guy, and he was going to MOT it, and then he put it through his MOT. It failed on a bunch of things. We were then in lockdown, which meant it was quite hard to kind of get MOT'd. But about probably at least 2.5 months after my initial inquiry with me, yesterday we went down to Battle to go and collect it. So we are now in possession of what will be our mobile shop, and I'm sure you're desperate to see what it looks like. So let's go and have a gander. Here she is, 1994 LT 35, big wedge. Right. Yep. All right then, let me show you around. So first of all, what attracted me to this thing of beauty, it's a VW. I like VWs, so that kind of did have some appeal. It's quirky, like it is as tall as it is long, and so it looks really crazy on the road. And yeah, it's you know, it's got 2.5 diesel engine. Hopefully it will keep on rocking. It's got brand new MOT, so it's just had all its brakes done and stuff like that. So it's not in mechanically bad shape. It could do with a bit of sprucing, I'd say. So we're going to clean it. I think that's a big part of it. I cannot wait to jet wash this thing. I cannot wait to jet wash it. But I am going to say that whilst we're going to get rid of some of this crud, probably won't say horses, my concern isn't so much with the outside. I kind of like the idea of it being a bit of a sleeper. So we rock up somewhere and people are like, what the hell is that POS? And then we do our thing, drop the site down, and people are like, oh, okay, cool, it's something quite interesting. So 3 seats up front, which is handy for taking people around, like you say. It's called Bessie, which we're going to have to remove that because there's only one Bessie in the Boyds family. For those of you who know Guido and his BSA, that name's already taken. It's got a little tradesman's entrance and a step, which is nice. And then really, I think this is what made the horse box such a good option, is this. The ability to open it up whilst it's high, which, you know, it's got a high floor height. If we can make something of this, it all of a sudden becomes kind of the perfect vehicle. Try not to get crushed underneath the weight of this, which is pretty heavy. Don't know what that was. So we have a ramp. As you can kind of see, once you open it up, all of a sudden you kind of see why it makes a good choice for a shop. So big old interior space. It had been part converted into a camper, so it's already got a solar panel on the roof and a unit here down to a leisure battery. So we'll utilise that, probably look at uprating the solar panel so we've got more power. One of the things we said with the crowdfunder was that if we could raise, we actually said 15 grand, we would kit the thing out with a coffee machine. One of the things people loved about Boyds was coming for our coffee. But we got to 12 grand and it was kind of like, actually, that's important to a lot of people. So we're going to try and do that. But in order for us to do that with our much lower budget, we've had to kind of compromise on a few things, I'd say. One perhaps being the vehicle, but actually I've got a lot of affection for this thing. So I think we'll be able to make something good. But we have a coffee machine. We'll talk about that another time. So it's had a new floor put in, obviously needs clean. I'm probably going to remove a lot of this. The previous owner bought it, started converting it and was going to do a European tour, but then COVID happened and it's basically just sat. And because he lived in London and the ULEZ stuff coming, he can't drive into London, so he was selling it. He's actually got a new van to continue that plan. So yeah, for interior space compared to what we would get with a lot of other vehicles, you know, there's a lot to be said. It's light and we have plans. So the ramp, rather than it being a ramp, what we're probably going to try and do is lift it up. My good friend Dan of Slap Industries is going to be helping me a lot with this because he is the king amongst men. We're going to try and make it into almost a platform like that can be an extended retail space, stage, sun deck, all those kind of things anyway. So that's the plan. So yeah, we'll go into more details of that in the future, but as we come around, it's had like a caravan door fitted on the back, which I'm not sure is going to be much use to us, but maybe we'll have it as a little serving hatch when we're not open, maybe early morning coffees and moonshine out the back window. It's, like I say, to drive, it's surprisingly, you know, it doesn't feel huge on the roads. A lot of its size is in its height, but I love the decals on it. I think once it's cleaned up, if that cleans up nicely, we'll probably, like I say, we'll do something with it, but we don't have the budget to go for like a full respray at the moment. Maybe that's something we'll do in the future if this ends up being a success. But really, our intention is to get it kitted out as a shop, make sure it's kind of mechanically in the right place, and yeah, start trading, get out to shows as quickly as they start. So the interior is a thing of beauty as well, of course. So I think the first thing we're going to do is give the interior a bit of a clean. So let's do that. So what's it like to drive? I think to put it into one word, I would say slow. It's a big old heavy beast and it takes its time to get up to speed. Yesterday was a 3-hour drive home around the M25 and on the M1. Basically I just got it up to 5th gear and then sat with my foot down all the way. It didn't get above 64 miles an hour. On the hills it dropped down to kind of below 50 a couple of times, but even if you change down a gear, even if you changed it to 4th, I realised that's pretty pointless, so it was just a case of leave it in 5th and act like you were on cruise control. You could almost stick a brick on the pedal. But you know, it's a nice place to be. like I say, it surprisingly doesn't feel as big as you'd think. It's mainly the height that's significant. Speedo doesn't work, so I'm relying on ways, and the fan motor for the heaters don't work at the moment. Two things that I'll perhaps look at some point. But yeah, it's the gears is what weird, like reverse is where you would normally find first gear, and then you go into first. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. And certainly when I first started driving it, I was sort of second guessing myself coming up to roundabouts and stuff like that. But I've got used to that now, and it's fine. It's very comfortable. Like, I'm 6'4", so I struggle in commercial vehicles. I've got a little Scaddy like pickup, and with the bulkhead there, it is a bit of a squeeze for me. But there's plenty of space here for me. It's very, very comfortable to drive, and you know, having the top-down steering wheel, you get the clutch on one side of the steering column and the brake and the accelerator on the other side. It's a comfortable driving position. You feel, you know, you've got a great view. It's nice to drive, and yeah, it's fundamentally it's just a bit of a slow old thing. But we don't care about speed. I don't really care about speed in general, but it's not really built for that. It's built for us moving our stuff around. But what I think we will have to be conscious in the build of keeping the weight down, so we don't want to slow it down anymore. I think that would piss people off on the motorway. But yeah, I like it. It's charming. It's got a bit of personality to it, and it's a VW, and that's cool. I think one of the big benefits, or one of the deciding factors about this vehicle, is because we had a limited budget on what we could spend. You know, we wanted to kit it out with the coffee machine, etc., etc., and it was kind of, you know, you had to compromise in some ways. It was either kind of get a more expensive vehicle that perhaps was smaller, newer, or get something that either required mechanical or bodywork work. And I think this was kind of the best compromise. Was kind of, yeah, there's a couple of small niggles mechanically, but by and large it's fine. You know, it's rolling. We could use this tomorrow. I could drive it across country. I did yesterday, so that's a good starting point. Bodywork, yeah, again, it's something to improve on, but it's not a priority, and again, it's usable from the get-go. So our focus will be on the interior. Our focus will be on making it a functioning mobile coffee shop, retail place, whatever you want to call it, hangout, mobile boys, and doing that, you know, we can immediately focus on that rather than having to worry too much about, oh, can we get it running right, oh, can we fix that bodywork. So that was a big deciding factor in why we picked this vehicle, and I think it's a good basis for it. Right, first things first, let's fill this bucket of shot. Grime, magic sponge. If you haven't got any of these, get some, or mortar. Let's get to work. So that's the van. I hope you like it. Giving it a quick clean on the inside, so I'm at least 10% more confident I won't be getting herpes while driving it. But this is the beginning of a build series, so I'd like to say we're going to release videos every week, but I don't think that's going to be that regular. It's obviously, this is a vehicle that's been born of you know, the community chipping in, buying stuff from Boyds, which has given us the money to do so. Currently, Boyds, I don't pay myself from it, so it's not even really a business at the moment, but any money we make from Boyds, any money I make from doing printing work for people, anything that goes into the pot towards making this vehicle and furthermore to kind of continue growing the business. So if you haven't checked out our website, do go over and check it out, boydsofbedford.com. This, like I say, is the first series, so I don't know how regularly we'll do them, so if you want to know when they're coming, click like, click subscribe, hit the bell so that you get a notification when something new is coming out, and we will hopefully see you again. So next episode I think we'll go into where we're going to clean the outside of it, which I'm excited. I'm probably going to finish cleaning in here. It's a half job at the moment, and go into some of the plans of what we're going to do as well. So see you soon.